In the summer of 1885, a young woman walked alone across the endless Montana wilderness, with nothing but a small travel bag and a secret she was desperate to protect. The towns behind her had closed their doors. The people she trusted had turned against her. Every mile she walked took her closer to an uncertain future, and every shadow in the mountains reminded her that someone was still following her. Then, as the sun disappeared behind the golden hills, a lonely cowboy riding through the valley noticed her tired steps. He slowed his horse, looked at the woman standing alone on the dangerous trail, and said 6 words that would change her destiny forever. "You don't walk alone anymore." Before we begin this emotional Wild West journey, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Meaningful Horizons for more powerful fronts. The Montana wilderness stretched farther than the eye could see. Golden grass moved with the wind. Tall mountains stood silently in the distance, and along a forgotten dirt trail one woman continued walking. Her name was Mara Ellis. She was 24 years old. She carried only a small leather travel bag, a worn blue dress, and a letter hidden carefully inside her coat. Everything she owned in the world was inside that bag. A few clothes, a small amount of money, and the only proof that could change her entire future. For 3 days, Mara had been walking toward the town of Willow Creek. She didn't know if anyone there would help her. She didn't know if she would find safety, but she knew one thing. She could never return to the place she left behind. Months earlier, Mara had worked as a teacher in a small frontier town. She believed people were honest. She believed kindness mattered. But everything changed when she discovered that one of the town's most respected men was hiding a terrible secret. She found documents proving that innocent families were being cheated out of their land. When Mara tried to reveal the truth, the powerful men who controlled the town turned against her. Suddenly, a woman who had spent years helping others became the person everyone wanted to silence, so she left, not because she was weak, because she knew surviving meant moving forward. The afternoon sun became hotter. Year stopped beside a small stream and opened her bag. Only a little bread remained. She looked at the long road ahead for the first time. Doubt entered her mind. Maybe I can't do this alone. The words escaped quietly, but she quickly stood again. No, she tightened the strap of her bag. I have to, she continued walking. She didn't notice the rider watching from the top of a nearby hill. A few hundred yards away sat a cowboy on a dark brown horse. His name was Caleb Stone. Caleb was known throughout the region as a skilled rancher and mountain guide. He was the kind of man who could cross dangerous trails without fear, but behind his calm face was a lonely past. Years ago he lost the people closest to him and decided he was better off living alone. He trusted animals more than people, the mountains more than towns, silence more than conversations. But when Caleb saw Mara walking alone on that dangerous trail, something about her caught his attention. It wasn't just that she was alone, it was the way she walked. Every step showed exhaustion, but none showed surrender. Caleb followed from a distance, not because he didn't trust her, because he noticed something she hadn't. Fresh tracks behind her, someone else had been following the same trail. As evening approached, Mara reached a narrow mountain pass. The path became darker, the wind grew colder. Then she heard something, a branch breaking. She turned nothing. She kept walking. Another sound, this time closer. Mara slowly reached inside her coat and touched the hidden letter. Then a voice came from behind. Looking for someone? Mara turned and saw a stranger standing near the trees, a man with a cold smile. Before she could answer, another voice interrupted. She's not looking for you. Caleb Stone rode out of the shadows. The stranger looked surprised. This doesn't concern you, cowboy. Caleb stopped his horse. Anyone being followed through my mountains concerns me. Mara looked at him. You don't even know me. Caleb climbed down from his horse. You're right. He looked toward the stranger disappearing into the trees. But I know danger when I see it. For the first time in days, Mara felt like she wasn't completely alone. Caleb offered her water. She hesitated. I don't need saving. A small smile appeared on Caleb's face. I didn't say you did. He looked at the darkening trail. I said, you shouldn't have to face it alone. Those words stayed with Mara because nobody had said that to her in a very long time. As night arrived, Caleb built a small campfire beside the trail. Mara sat across from him, still cautious. You always help strangers. Caleb looked into the flames. No, then why me? He paused because someone once helped me when I needed it. The silence between them felt different, not uncomfortable, just honest. But neither of them noticed the rider watching from the distant ridge. The man pulled out a wanted poster. Mia Ellis, the same woman Caleb had just helped. The rider smiled. She found a protector. He folded the paper. That makes things more interesting. And somewhere in the darkness, the past Mara was running from was getting closer. The morning sun slowly appeared over the Montana mountains, painting the valley with golden light. For most people, it was a beautiful morning. But for Mara Ellis, it was another reminder that danger was getting closer. She woke beside the small campfire and immediately reached for her travel bag. The hidden letter was still there, the only thing connecting her to the truth. Caleb Stone noticed her worried expression. "You haven't slept much?" Mara looked away. "I've learned that sleeping peacefully is difficult when someone wants you gone." Caleb studied her carefully. "Who is chasing you?" For a moment, Mara said nothing. She had spent months keeping her secret. Trusting someone had already cost her everything once, but something about Caleb felt different. He wasn't asking because he wanted something, he was asking because he cared. Finally, she pulled the old letter from inside her coat. "My father wrote this before he died." Caleb listened quietly. He worked for a large land company. Before he passed away, he discovered that the company was using false records to steal land from families who couldn't fight back. She unfolded the letter. "This contains the names of everyone involved." Caleb looked at the document and "The people following you want this." Mara nodded. "They believe destroying this letter will erase the truth." Caleb looked toward the mountains. "Then they don't understand something." "What?" He looked back at her. "Truth doesn't disappear just because someone tries to hide it." Those words surprised Mara. She had spent so long believing she had to fight alone. Now for the first time, someone was standing beside her, not because he felt sorry for her, because he believed her. They continued toward Willow Creek. The journey was difficult, but Caleb knew the mountains better than anyone. He showed Mara hidden paths, places where they could rest, ways to avoid dangerous roads. Slowly, the distance between them changed. Yara began seeing the man behind the quiet cowboy. Caleb wasn't cold, he was simply someone who had been hurt and learned to hide it. One evening while they rested near a river, Mara asked, "Why do you live alone?" Caleb stared at the flowing water. "Because people leave." Mara lowered her eyes. "I know that feeling." For the first time, Caleb smiled, a real smile. "Maybe that's why we understand each other." But their peaceful moment ended quickly. A gunshot echoed through the valley. Caleb immediately stood. "Stay behind me." 3 riders appeared on the ridge. Leading them was Richard Vane, a powerful businessman from the town Mara had escaped. He slowly rode forward. Mara Ellis, her face changed. "You followed me all this way?" Richard smiled. "You had something that belonged to me." Caleb stepped forward. "No." Richard looked at him. "This is your mistake, cowboy." Caleb didn't move. "No, your mistake was thinking she was still alone." The riders attacked. The quiet valley became a battlefield. Caleb fought with everything he had. He moved quickly, protecting Mara while trying not to lose control, but Mara wasn't hiding. She grabbed documents and moved toward higher ground. Richard chased after her. "You don't understand what you're carrying." Mara turned. "I understand perfectly." She held the letter tightly. "You're afraid because the truth is stronger than you." Richard became furious. He reached for the letter, but before he could take it, Caleb arrived. The 2 men fought beside the river. The struggle was fierce. Years of anger and pain came out in every movement. Finally, Caleb knocked Richard's weapon away. The sound of approaching horses filled the valley. Sheriff and several townspeople arrived. Mara had secretly marked the trail earlier, hoping someone would find the evidence if things went wrong. Richard Vane was arrested. The documents were taken to the courthouse. Weeks later, the truth spread across Montana. Families who had lost their land finally received justice. The powerful men who believed they were untouchable were exposed, and Mara Ellis, she returned to Willow Creek, but not as a woman running away. She returned as the person who revealed the truth, a person people respected. Spring arrived. The mountains turned green again. Mara opened a small school for children from nearby ranches. Caleb continued managing his ranch. He was no longer the lonely cowboy everyone remembered. One evening, Mara stood outside the school watching the sunset. Caleb walked toward her. "You still planning to walk every road alone?" Mara smiled. "Maybe not every road." Caleb looked at her. "Good." She laughed, softly. "Why?" He smiled. "Because I meant what I said that first night." The wind moved through the valley. The mountains stood quietly around them. Then Caleb repeated the words that changed everything. "You don't walk alone anymore." Mara looked at the road ahead. A road that once represented fear, now it represented a future. Because sometimes destiny doesn't change when someone saves you. Sometimes it changes when someone simply chooses to stand beside you. And in the vast wilderness of Montana, one lonely cowboy and one determined woman discovered that the greatest journeys are not the ones we walk alone. If this story touched your heart, Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Meaningful Horizons for more emotional Wild West stories. The end.